Hi everyone, and welcome to Kelsey-Bear's Cozy Fairs. Heatless curls have been a super popular trend for years now. Hi! Do you want to come up? Oh, Mabel's here. Mabel, no! Don't, I just sewed this! Heatless curls have been a really popular trend for years now. It's a great way to style your hair without causing any damage from a heating iron. But my problem with a lot of curlers is that they're super uncomfortable to sleep in, and the longer my hair gets, the more it has trouble holding a curl. This is why I decided to sew my own hair curler set that is much more comfortable to sleep in and gives me tighter, long-lasting curls. No hair products or sprays necessary. In this video, Mabel and I are going to be showing you the very easy sewing process in case you'd like to make your own. All you're going to need for this project is some fabric, thread, a sewing machine, and some sort of stuffing. And because I wanted tighter curls, I cut a rectangle that was 60 inches long and 2 inches wide. If you would like bigger, looser, more voluminous curls, I would suggest cutting a rectangle that's probably about 4 inches wide, but you can really customize it depending on how tight or loose you want your curls to be. And if you can't get a rectangle that's 60 inches long, just do what I'm doing here, which is combining two smaller rectangles that are 30 inches long. Go ahead and press the center seam if you did have to combine two rectangles. Next, we're going to press the fabric over, right sides together. At the machine, we're going to be sewing down the length of our folded rectangle. I am using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. It's important to remember to leave an opening in the center of your rectangle unstitched. We're going to need that opening to turn our hair curlers right side out. To turn the hair curler inside out, I would recommend using some sort of tool like a loop turner. It did take me a while to turn the curler inside out just because I sewed mine so narrow, but I also used a blunt pencil to help push it out from the inside. It's almost time to add the filling, but before we do that, we need to mark and top stitch at 2 different points along this hair curler. This is to prevent the filling from traveling all the way down to the ends of the curler. As you can see, I'm using an old hair curler as a guide to help determine how long the filled part of my hair curler is going to be. And measuring it out was about 31 inches, so I would recommend starting at the center of the hair curler and go about 15-16 inches in both directions. Then all you need is a simple top stitch at each of your marked spots. Here's the part where it really feels like it's coming together. I'm using some pillow stuffing to help fill my hair curler, but if you don't have that, you could get creative and even use something like fabric scraps. What's most important is that your filling is not too hard that it becomes uncomfortable to sleep in, but is still firm enough to give your curler some shape. Once the curler has been filled, it's now time to wrap it up by top stitching that last little opening. I had to maneuver the filling off to the side a little bit so that I could top stitch. If you're uncomfortable with that or can't seem to get it, you can definitely hand stitch that opening shut as well. Now it's time to move on to the scrunchies. We're going to need to cut out 2 rectangles and grab some elastic. If you want smaller, skinnier scrunchies like I'm making, I would recommend cutting a rectangle that's about 2.5 to 3 inches wide and 15 inches long. Fold the rectangle right sides together and stitch. I'm using about a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now take the loop you've just created and with the side closest to you, roll it up tightly. Then sandwich that loop with the other half of your scrunchie. Remember that the right sides should be facing together. Sew down the length of your scrunchie, leaving 1 to 2 inches unsewn so that we can turn it inside out. Be very mindful to not let that inner roll be caught by your needle. As you continue sewing down the length of your scrunchie, you're going to need to pull some of the inner fabric out from the bottom. The first time I filmed, I didn't catch it at a good angle, so here I'm showing you with a different scrunchie what I mean when I'm talking about pulling that inner loop down. Once you pull that inner loop down a bit, then you want to sandwich it back up, again making sure not to catch that inner loop with the needle as you continue sewing down the edge of your scrunchie. Continue pulling the loop and sewing in this manner, remembering to leave about 1 inch opening unsewn so that we can pull the scrunchie right side out. Now let's reach in through that small opening and turn our scrunchie right side out. Cut an elastic that's about 7.5 inches long. Put a safety pin through one end of your elastic. The safety pin is going to help us snake the elastic through the scrunchie, and be sure to hold on to the other end of the elastic so that it doesn't get pulled into and lost inside of your scrunchie. Then pinch or pin the two ends of the elastic together and stitch. Now all we have to do is top stitch that little opening and we're done. Here's how I use my heatless curlers. When I go to part my hair, I like to make a zigzag parting. That way I don't have such a stark, harsh line down the back of my head when I take the curlers out. I find it's really helpful to use one of the scrunchies to tie up one side of the curler while you're wrapping the other side. The curling process is really easy. Just start by taking some hair from the top of your head and wrap it around the curler going away from your face. And then grab another piece of hair and wrap that around the curler as well, continuing to add pieces until all of your hair is wrapped around the curler. I like wrapping away from my face just because I like the curls going in that direction. I think it looks really nice. Use the scrunchie to tie it in place and repeat on the other side. Something you might want to keep in mind is how tight you're pulling your hair when you're curling. Because I'm sleeping in these overnight, I have to be careful not to pull my hair too tight or else it can give me a headache. Cross the two loose ends at the back of your head, bringing them around to the top of your head. Tie a secure knot at the top of your head, and you did it! It's quite a look, isn't it? To keep my curler secure overnight, I like to use a hair scarf. I find that I toss and turn in the night, and this really helps keep my hairstyle in place. Okay, it's the next day, and I am going to show you how my hair curler survived a full night of sleep as well as a morning weightlifting session. The curlers themselves stayed put the entire night and morning. I just had to retie the scarf once or twice, but I'm super happy with how these curlers turned out. I really like the tightness of the curl, and I find that my hair does stay curled the entire day, which the longer it gets, the faster it usually falls out of a curl. So believe it or not, this curling method actually works better for me than using a hot iron. Plus, my curls are just so bouncy, and I think that's really cute. Can you see Mabel? I can't do this with you. You are terrorizing me. Don't interrupt mommy when she's sewing her super important YouTube video. This is the video that will change lives. I used pillow stuffing, but honestly even scrap fabrics would work. I keep messing this up. Excuse my language. Can't say that on YouTube, can I? In case you'd like to make your own hair curler and scrunchie set, we can do this. Why is this so difficult for me today?